We will talk about global oil industry. I will talk about the introduction part. One, proportion of oil in energy consumption. The largest industry is the oil industry in the world in terms of value of dollar. Oil also accounts for a significant percentage of energy consumption regionally, from 32% for Europe and Asia, 40% for North America, 41% for Africa, 44% for South, and 53% for the Middle East. The largest volume of products is oil and gas industry, followed is oil and petroleum. Petroleum is the primary material for multitude chemical products, including pharmaceutical, syringe, and plastic. Petroleum is therefore integral to many industries and is of critical importance to many nations as foundation of their industry. 2. The future impact of the oil industry. The world depends on oil and gas. Gas is increasing as the global economic and infrastructure continue to rely heavily on petroleum-based products. The oil and gas industry continue to generate incredible influence in the international economic and political arena. 3. Competitors in the oil industry. The trend toward renewable and alternative energy is a threat for traditional oil industry. Coupled with the rise in environmental legislation and government pressure has meant the oil industry is under more scrutiny than ever. Next part is challenge.
Samuel, and my part in oil industry challenges about oil industry. So one of the major challenge in oil industry is basically instability of prices and downfall and rise up in oil prices. That's how can you see in 2015 sudden fall in prices makes a big change in industry, and then the annual average oil rise from 71 per barrel up to 54 per barrel in 2017. Global oil demand rising by 38 barrel per day to 115 barrel by 2025. The next challenge is about production. Like we see in future demands, high investment is needed to meet the demand of production, to meet the demand of market. Although producers who are doing high investment in that part also need assurance for the market stability. Yeah. The next part is demand. Declining demand in West Europe and North America. Like they are meeting their own market demand. So there in future there is a declining demand in West Europe and North America. Increasing demand in across Asia Pacific and Middle East. In Middle East and Asia Pacific, especially in China, in future there is a high demand of oil. Yeah, this shift changing traditional dynamics between world's oil supply and demands. So these changes basically in throughout the world in global business environment makes a huge changes. Transportation needs, as we all know that transportation is a important matter in this part. So in cost of transportation, they need high, in oil industry they need high cost of transportation. Political influence like Brexit in Europe and United States, and geographical considerations such as ongoing troubles in Iran, Qatar exit from OPEC, and high taxation and restriction from government, especially this is for especially like private sector, private companies. Yeah, that's all my part about, so thank you.
Today, the oil industry face many challenges. It has just told price, productions, demand, transportation cost, and political. But the most important things that affect the oil industries is annual oil productions. There are many countries around the world that have ability to drilling oil for themselves, but the main source of oil is come from the Middle East countries. This year, the OPEC cut oil supply to the outside the world. This incident has some influence for some countries, like China, like United States, but they can drilling oil for themselves, and the production is very considerable. So the influence is not big. But some countries, they totally depend on the Middle East countries. So they price of oil, the transportations will naturally increases. So that the demand will reduce. Therefore, the production of the oil and explodes by the oil producing countries is huge challenges for the market. Next.
My name is Yu Renma. For the strategy, we choose the Royal Dutch Shell policy to research. Shell is one of the giants in the petrol and gas industry. It was founded in 1907 and is major competitor in the energy, gas, chemical and solar fields. Firstly, the Shell adopt an organizational restructuring strategy as earlier as the end of last century. For example, according to Robert in 2002, between 1955 and 1993, they do the decentralization decision making to all levels and reducing excess capacity through closure of refineries and fueling stations. However, Shell does not undergo major restructuring because Shell is flexibility without the need for continued changes. Secondly, Shell uses concentration strategy, such as Shell give up the unprofitable business and focus on the oil industry and leave the country without unreasonable return on the investment. Besides, outsourcing those activities that could be performed more efficiently by outside supplier in decade ago. And furthermore, in this strategy, Shell made up by those two companies. In addition, the Shell holds a 50% stakes in Razen, a joint venture with Cosan, which is the third largest energy company in Brazil. Thirdly, the share of the diversity strategy is also extensive. For example, in 1970s, it acquired or joined in the venture of many different types of industry. The details just see in the below. Moreover, the Shell has achieved the diversity management, such as accepting disabled employees and assisting the female managers and supporting LGBT employees. Fourthly, in the era of the oil price falling, the Shell announced a plan to reduce company's cost in June 7th, 2016, and the plan includes opening the offshore legal center. Finally, the oil industry giant seems to have a same tacit understanding of which is donation. Here has two examples. The first one is occurred in U.S. The oil company received subsidies from U.S. politicians through donation. The second case is that oil company have received £1 billion of commitment from the British government to donate to the Queen's birthday. And next, turn to my partner.
Okay. My partner introduced the Shell company use which strategy, and I will introduce this strategy, how to help for the Shell company. First is the Shell organizational restructuring. It gives the department more power and they have more responsibility. Department have more cost to do the work and they can do many things for the company and they should have more benefits for the company. And then it help reduce waste of resources and save costs. The company use less staff to do more work and small company to do more product. And then the Shell concentration strategy. It helps the development of the major products in the last year. And this company's major product is oil, and they can make more cost for the oil and make the oil famous on the world and enter the mining market. And then is control low efficiency product. Is maybe some few products in the market is be few, and they can control them. And three, the Shell diversification strategy. It can make full use of enterprise research and reduce the cost and increase revenues. And for example, the Shell company have many products. They can and many companies they can use their own product to make the new product. And they maybe some, for example, is the oil, and they have 6 stations. They can use their own oil. Companies help each other, and then it driven further risks and have a long-term development. There have many company and products. Maybe some is good company in the market, and maybe some is don't good company products in the market, and they can let the Shell company have a good development. And the last one is the risk popularity of the brand. There are many products of Shell companies in the market, and the people know which is Shell company, and they know the company is big and is good for this company's development. Okay, and this is the fourth, the soul of Shell trust. It can save staff and cost. It's helpful Shell companies to make in a new market, and they don't need their own staff and management. They should, and it's good for in a new market because it's the local people do their work and they know which is this market is demand. And the last one is Shell donate to major local events. It's good for Shell company to in a new market, and the important is they can have more help from this government. Okay, this is my part.
Okay, this is my part. Okay, it's the conclusion for the company, and accepting the diverse workplace will allow the company to have new opinions, and that can improve the values of the company. And about the second, corporate restructuring should not focus on rebuilding. It should be determined whether it can be used for and or not. The third one is do the cost-benefit analysis for the self, and in order to prevent further losses, sometimes company need to recognize some cost-benefit analysis for the self. So the fourth is companies should be versatile and able to use different solutions to deal with the different challenges. It's very important for the company of development. According to suitability and the consolidation, their portfolio could help in managing assets that might be causing the loss. About the sixth is local price will allow to company to save costs in a particular country. And the last but not least, it's the streamlining process and adapting to the local culture, making the company to understand the local needs and wants. It also will help improve the brand presence of the company in the